Greetings, comrades and friends. I am bringing you the most heartfelt solidarity of the U.S. Peace Council and condemnation of the criminal attack of U.S. imperialism and NATO on Yugoslavia. For us in the Peace Council, this attack was the starting or the initial point, step of the new global policy of U.S. imperialism and its military machine, NATO, for full spectrum dominance of the world, which was announced. This started after the dismantling of the USSR and the socialist camp. A group of conservative ruling class members, they formed what is called Project for the New American Century. And they argued in their statement of principles that we should not allow another global rival to appear on the scene during the 21st century. And the US has to do everything to stop that process. That was the initial principle document that they put out in 1994, before the attack on Yugoslavia. They outlined a number of principles or policies to follow for the United States, and these policies became actual official policy of the United States government during George W. Bush, then followed by Obama, and now intensified by Trump. Let me outline some of the principal policy issues that they mentioned in that document. They put out a 90-page military document. And I urge those of you who have not seen it, go to the Project for the New American Century and see those documents. I'm just outlining from that document, 90-page document. US should remain the only superpower in the world. No global rivals should arise on the scene, be allowed to arise. Of course, this was targeting China and Russia. They explicitly mentioned China, and they said 60% of US naval force should be moved toward China, and it has already happened. Regionally, they said no state should be allowed to resist this full spectrum dominance of the United States in any region. And they proposed either crushing it, invading it, partitioning it, or forcing a regime change. These are in the official documents of the United States. They said, in order to achieve this full spectrum dominance, we should not allow United Nations to hinder us, because UN is too slow and too limited to protect our interests. So we should push NATO as the main force of maintaining security in the world, in the American interests. They issued also this principle that the US should be prepared to fight multiple wars simultaneously. So they have to rebuild their military force. They said we should advance our nuclear weapons, which they are involved in. And at the end of that document, which is very revealing, they said that we need another new Pearl Harbor to start the process. And it was with the George Bush coming to power and all of those authors of the document coming to the cabinet, this became the official policy of the United States. And it has been pursued ever since. After September 11, they found the Pearl Harbor they were waiting for. And they moved, and they went on a military rampage throughout the world. And they have been going through country after country after country. We have witnessed any of them. If you look at them, they are the ones who are resisting US domination in the region. And the final one is now Venezuela in Latin America. So expansion of NATO started based on the same policy. Toward the east, towards the borders of Russia. One by one, former Soviet republics became NATO members. But there is something more dangerous also is happening. Now Colombia is called global partner of NATO. If you look at it that way, now Colombia is the proxy in Latin America, and it's now acting as a proxy for NATO against Venezuela, if you have seen the news, heard the news. So, after going through all of that, they are now going westward, and Venezuela is the next target. And we are assuming that probably Colombia would be involved in a proxy war against Venezuela. So, this expansionism, this militarism, this rampage that is going on has to be stopped. And we in the United States feel a special responsibility because it's the government of the United States that is doing all these crimes. So, we have managed to organize the peace forces, especially the anti-imperialist forces of peace in the United States, into one huge coalition. We have gone to Syria as a delegation, as a peace mission. We have gone to Venezuela. We just came back with a delegation of 13 leaders of the peace movement in the United States. We went to Venezuela. We had the honor of meeting with President Maduro. We were there just in the middle of blackout due to US cyber attack. And President Maduro actually explained to us how this attack happened. He said there were 3 layers. They first attacked us through cyber attack, paralyzed the electrical system. We restored it shortly and quickly. Then we had an electromagnetic attack that crippled the system again. And again, on the 3rd level, they had bombings and blowing up the transformers and different regions in different areas of the country. This is how they managed to do it. And we were in the middle of the blackout. And their hope was that then people during that blackout would run to the streets and start protesting against the government. Nothing like that happened. We were there. And in fact, all the crisis they're claiming exists in Venezuela doesn't exist. It's just a media fake. And we witnessed it firsthand. And we are coming back to campaign against all the lies that the media is promoting in the United States and around the world against Venezuela, against the Bolivarian Revolution. Now, they're taking it one step further. Trump is now turning it into a full-fledged Cold War by saying that no socialist state should exist in Latin America. They mentioned Cuba too as the next target. So we have a big, big responsibility on our hand, and we recognize that in the United States. We are organizing on March 30th. Actually, March 30th is a precursor. On April 4th, NATO is celebrating its 70th anniversary in Washington, D.C. And we are prepared for that. The irony is that April 4th is also the day of assassination of Martin Luther King in the United States. And they had the audacity to come to the United States to hold celebration for their crimes they have committed in all these decades. It is an insult on the whole civil rights movement of the United States. And they are doing it blatantly. And they have been blatant all over recently. Before they put it in sugar coating. No more. Openly saying that. Trump says Venezuela has to be changed, right? They say now they recognize Golan Heights as the territory of Israel, right? They are establishing 11 bases in northern Syria. They have already have it with the French. So they are expanding, and we are trying to fight back. On March 30th, we are holding a nationwide demonstration in front of the White House of the United States, protesting. Hundreds of peace organizations are involved. We are going to protest NATO in Washington, D.C. On 31st of March, of course, I'm inviting all of you to come. But when we were in Venezuela, we invited our friends, our comrades in Venezuela to also come. They couldn't come, but they agreed to hold on the same day a demonstration in Caracas. So we are asking you, if you cannot come, please organize something on March 30th against NATO. That's going to be the day. On March 31st, World Peace Council, at the invitation of US Peace Council, is holding its anti-NATO conference in Washington, D.C. A lot of members of the World Peace Council are coming, but those who cannot come have promised to do something in their own countries. So this is what we are involved in, and we want to tell you that the people of the United States, 76% of them do not agree with this imperialist policies and wars of the United States, and we are doing everything we can to stop them. I again express my solidarity with all the victims of imperialist attacks everywhere. Thank you very much.